It's official. You are one of the crazy ones. You are crazy AF. You're one of the wild ones, and it's time that you own it. I just got back from the gym again, and in my, routine slash flow, and this was coming through because I landed on a comment on a YouTube short that was just recently posted about breaking free from the matrix and that other people on the 3D timeline are not going to get it. And you don't need to wait for them to get it because you're not here to fit in. And one of the comments, uh, was this lady is completely off of her rocker. And that just brought so much joy to me because that is exactly what I'm talking about. You are you are not crazy. You are ahead of your time. You are leading a new paradigm, and other people are not going to get it. People in your family, your friend circle, people in your community, where you work, they're just not going to get it. And this is part of embracing this new journey. Like you are leading this paradigm. When you fast forward, yes, in linear time, 50, 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 3, 4, 500 years from now, leading from frequency, leading from flow is not going to be some like unheard of thing, right? So the message is coming through is it's time to embrace what doesn't make sense. It's not going to make sense to the linear logical mind. And so you may have at some point believe that maybe you're just crazy, maybe you're just whatever. But I'm just here to shine a light and bring you back into truth, which is the world that you see is not even real. It's illusory at best, which means it is not as it appears. It is solid, appears solid, and is actually energy. So, how can anybody think that there is some logical, linear path to this 3D reality when reality is illusory at best? Even the separate sense of self that you believe yourself to be or have believed yourself to be up until the point where you see where oneness sees through the mask and you realize you've never been this small separate sense of self. That is illusory. The dreamer of the dream is the illusion. So none of this is actually real, not in the way that you think that it is. And this sounds crazy to people that are not able to see beyond the veil of illusion of separation. But that is what you are moving into. This is what you are embodying, and this is what you are seeing more clearly. Okay. And it's not a knowing, it's not a conceptual understanding. You may already conceptually understand this, but this is an embodiment of this. It's a being this that you are embodying more and more each day as you move from separation consciousness and the dualistic mind and fully anchor into your sacred heart, which is beyond the parameters of what the linear logical mind can think of as possible. So yeah, in that regard, you are crazy. You are crazy. You are crazy, crazy as they come. You are one of the crazy ones. You are one of the wild ones that are leading this new paradigm. First, they call you crazy, and then they'll ask you how you did it. But visionaries and leaders often appear crazy at first, and then they become geniuses because they're able to, the world catches up to what you already knew to be true. So don't dance on the edge of this paradigm, leading this paradigm, and think that people are supposed to get you or understand you. I put this in several other previous videos. I've been talking about this for years, actually. You're not here for approval. You're not here for applause. You're not here for likes. You're not here for heart emojis. You're here to lead a new paradigm, and other people are not going to get it. You have to be so sovereign in yourself, so unattached to the external world, which is illusory anyways. Once you start to see through the illusion, you realize that there is like giving your power away to the external world and or naysayers or trolls online or anybody that has some kind of perception that is being projected onto you. That's not even like a thing anymore. You have zero, when you're so anchored in your sovereignty and you no longer second guess yourself and doubt the intuition. I can't stress this enough. Trust on this journey is everything. Being able to trust your own guidance system, your heart's knowing what you know to be true beyond the mind. This is beyond the world of labels. The world that you see outside of yourself, which is everything that's reflecting back to you, which will be people reflecting back to you your inner fears and insecurities, as long as those are still triggering you. When they no longer trigger you, it will be just like off your, it'll just like fly right off of you. It won't even affect you. Very similar to like when someone says, that I'm batshit crazy online. I've heard that, or that this is just like psychic psycho babble, or that I'm totally off my rocker and things like that. I've heard all of that over the years. None of that has stopped me from showing up in my truth. And I would also like to point out for all of you that are sitting behind the scenes, dimming your light, dimming your magic, and not sharing your truth to the world because you're afraid you're not going to fit in. Obviously, you're not here to fit in, but right alongside those naysayer comments and those troll comments or people that just don't get it and they have nothing better to do with their time than comment on things that they don't understand or get, like that's like right alongside those comments, there are comments of how transmissions that I've brought through have literally been life changing for people. Had I not shown up despite the fear of polarization that's going to happen as you stand fully in your truth and in your magic and your light. You're going to have polarization. You're going to have people that don't get it. You're going to have naysayers. You're going to have people that call you crazy or say you're off your rocker or whatever. You're going to be very polarizing the more magnetic you become. Okay. So I didn't know that this is where this message is going, but this is where this message is going. The more magnetic you become, the more anchored in, which means the more anchored in your feminine essence, your divine presence, the more you are anchored in your unapologetic truth. And truth is a big key word here. Truth and trust, truth and trust. You have to be able to honor and trust your own truth and allow truth to lead you. And truth is truth. I've shared this in, I don't know if it was another video or a post or whatever, but as you move through the eye of the needle, you are not able to bring any of your attachments. You're not allowed to bring any of your baggage. You're not allowed to bring any of your stories of lack or limitation. You're not allowed to bring any stories around your unworthiness. You're not allowed to bring any of your codependent coping mechanisms. You're not going to be able to bring any of that. What passes through the eye of the needle is truth. Truth is truth. And as you unapologetically embody your truth, meaning you are no longer living from the mind, the identity that exists in your head that you think that you are, and you are anchored in your sovereignty and in your divine essence and in the truth of your being, and you are shining your light unapologetically, which is uncensored, unedited, raw, real, true. Honesty. It is not something that is polished. It is not something that is edited. It is not something that is perfected. It is not something that you're comparing to other people and then, adjusting your message or the way you're showing up accordingly. No, this is the more you are anchored in your raw, uncensored, untamed, unapologetic truth and authenticity, the more magnetic you will be. This is why I love working with the dark feminine essence, your unapologetic magic, your unapologetic truth, right? This is really what anchors in your magnetism. And if you haven't jumped into the Forbidden Feminine Black Cat Edition, that is a live event that is happening on Friday the 13th It happens on Friday the 13th. It's going to be an annual thing only on Friday the 13th. So if you want access to that, the link will be wherever you're listening to this. I highly recommend you get into that. It's going to be, I can't even explain it. There's just a lot of energy coming through around sacred feminine energy and your unapologetic authenticity and magnetism. This is the other side of your light feminine, right? This is your dual nature and really being able to embrace and embody this unapologetically. So if that's resonating, get into the Forbidden Feminine Black Cat Edition live event on Friday the 13th. I would love to have you. It's going to be super fun and super powerful. And yeah, that's about it for that. So, where was I? The more magnetic you become, the more polarizing you will be. You are not here for likes and validation. The validation seeking is over. Any place you're still seeking validation outside of yourself before you show up in your truth and your authentic expression, you are self-abandoning. Self-abandoning energy is not the energy that you're going to be moving into your highest timeline with. All of the self-abandoning energy, any place you're selling yourself short, any place you're buying into stories of lack or scarcity, any place you are allowing the external world to dictate your inner state, all of that is being illuminated right now for you so that you can reclaim your throne as the divine creatrix that you are. You cannot live at the mercy of the external world, which is just a reflection and an echo of your old ways of thinking, being, and your conditioned responses, and what you have created up to this point. That is largely an identity that has been a false identity that is not really truly who you are, and it has been um, rooted in surviving and traumas and dramas and all the things. And this identity can't go with you. It won't pass through the eye of the needle either. You can't bring that old identity with you. And you can't bring any of the structures and systems that supported that old identity with you, or that you're still clinging to for some form of safety or security or validation or approval, which is why your world is crumbling, because it is quite true and real that your new timeline, your new life is going to cost you your old one. This is not just some cutesy quote that you heart on Instagram and you move on. Like, this is actually what's happening, and it is 100% true. Your old identity, everything you thought to be true about yourself, about reality, about the way you exist in the world, everything is flipped on its head. This is literally like almost everything is in reverse. One of my mentors calls this the backwards teaching, right? Because it's literally everything is reverse compared to what you have been trained and conditioned to believe to be true about yourself, who you are, what you are, the world that you live in, how reality truly, really works. And everything is being reversed. You are not at the mercy of the 3D world. You are the creator of it. It is a flip. It is a 180-degree flip. It's a 180-degree flip that, you used to think you had to work really hard and effort in order to achieve and carve out some kind of success for yourself. And in actuality, it's a 180-degree flip. You magnetize in simply by your frequency, and the world calibrates around that and then aligns with the frequency of that which you are being. Everything on this path is a 180-degree flip from what you believed to be true up until now. So, of course, other people that are not on this timeline and are not going through the depths of alchemy that you have already gone through on this journey are not going to be able to hear what you're saying and really anchor it in. They're not going to be able to relate to it because it sounds effing crazy to someone that is not fully on this ascension timeline. So don't try to make it make sense to other people. That's another thing that's coming through. Accept that you are one of the wild, crazy ones. You were never here to be tamed. You are here to be free. You are here to be sovereign. You are here to be the divine creatrix that you are. You are not at the mercy of the 3D world. That old paradigm of believing in lack or scarcity or unworthiness, or that you have to effort and work really hard, and that all of that is reverse. All of that is 180 degrees of what is actually true. The world that you see, this is something that popped up on, I don't know, hopefully I don't butcher this, has popped up on an Embody the Empress call just recently, um, where she was talking about her external world and talking about how, well, it's obviously real that this, and this. No, I had to stop her mid-sentence. That's not real. It's not real. This is why it sounds like a crazy message to a lot of people because the world that you believe to be true is not actually real. And I'm not saying it's unreal either. And I know this sounds very paradoxical, and the more you anchor into this, the more paradoxes you will experience. It's real and it's unreal simultaneously. In the sense of your 3D reality, it's as real as it comes, right? Like I don't recommend jumping off a bridge today, right? Like you're gonna hit the bottom, it's gonna hurt. Like that's real as far as this 3D reality experience is considered, it's real. But you are here to live in the world, but not of this world, because you are a multidimensional being and you are the conscious presence that is experiencing this, what appears to be a body, which is really just energy and frequency. And so is this table that I'm hitting. And so is this mic and this everything. When you boil it down to subatomic particles is energy. It's atoms that appear to be popping in and out of existence. Nothing. And so here's the thing though, what other people perceive to be crazy right now, this is not even new. Like Tesla knew this. Tesla knew that if you wanted to understand the world and the universe, you needed to think in terms of frequency, right? Energy and frequency. Einstein knew that, like, so that being said, this is something that is now being integrated at a deeper level, but also when you think about things that are crazy, photosynthesis seems crazy. Lightning seems crazy. You know what else seems crazy? The fact that I can cut my finger and somehow magically my body knows how to form a scab and heal from within a new skin and then like totally regenerate and my finger is like brand new. That's fucking crazy. Like we live in one big sea of mystery and magic, and all of it is unexplainable. None of it makes effing any sense. All of it is quote unquote crazy. And what that really means is that the logical mind cannot make sense of it. That's all that means. But the logical linear mind was not meant to make sense of it. The finite mind is not going to be able to make sense of the infinite. And so it's going to seem crazy. You are going to seem crazy to people that don't get it, that aren't on this timeline, and you don't have to worry about that. And you definitely don't have to allow that to be the reason that you don't move forward with your message, and you don't move forward with sharing your gift, and you don't move forward with sharing your truth and authenticity unapologetically. Because here's the thing. You say you want to magnetize your highest timeline. You say you want to call in, the soulmate clients and you want to call in the abundance and the prosperity and all the things effortlessly, that you don't want to work really hard anymore and you want to be able to call it in with your frequency and you want to be able to live the life that you know in your heart and soul you came here to experience, right? That's not going to be done through efforting. That's not going to be done through figuring it out. It's not going to be done by relying on the logical linear mind that got you this far. It's going to only happen by you tapping into the divine presence and infinite intelligence that you are. The same intelligence that beats the heart of this body and heals this finger when it gets cut and created the sun, the moon, the stars, and the galaxies and everything else. That is what's beating your heart right now. That is what's looking through your eyes right now. And so I don't even know where I was going with this. I just lost the train of thought. It'll come back if it's meant to. You say you want to manifest and create these things and magnetize it in easy and effortlessly. That's only going to happen when you are fully embodied in your divine frequency, the truth of who you are. And when you're showing up unapologetically in your truth, that's what makes you magnetic, your authenticity. Your authenticity does not give a shit about what somebody else is thinking or saying about you. When you are so anchored in that, when you are so anchored in that divine confidence, I call it, and it's not something that can be given to you, and it's not something that you can manufacture by wearing the color red or, all those things. And I'm not saying that color therapy and all those things have effects and crystals and all the things, but nothing has more power than the power that you give it, the meaning that you apply to it. If you believe that wearing the color red is going to bring you more confidence, then wearing the color red is going to bring you more confidence. But everything that has power is the power that you give it with your conscious presence, with your awareness. This is why very early on in my journey, I was never giving my power away to crystals and things outside of me. I knew that I was the power source, and I still love crystals, and I wear crystals. And if I turned this camera around, you would see nothing but crystals on my windowsill. And they do vibrate at certain frequencies, and so does nature and all of those things. But nothing is more powerful than your conscious presence and your attention and what you believe to be true about something and the meaning that you attach to it. Because you can have your house full of crystals to magnetize abundance, but if you don't believe yourself to be abundant, those crystals aren't going to do shit for you. You know what I'm saying? This is about what you are conscious of being. What story and narrative are you buying into? And you're not going to be able to stay in the linear, logical mind that is all rational thinking and thinks that you're trying to make sense of your reality as the old falls away. Like this is an opportunity every single day right now, every single moment, like just one ongoing moment. But right now, specifically, you are being given the opportunity over and over and over again right now as we are collectively shifting into your divine reality, my divine reality. And I say your and mine collectively because we are one, but this is what's happening collectively through our own unique, individual, authentic, divine expression. We're not here to discount our humanity. You are having a divine expression. There's a divine expression over here. There's all these divine expressions that are being called to share their authentic truth that is rooted in love and compassion and sovereignty and truth and honesty. And that does not equate to being the people pleaser or the one that dims your light or the one that has to censor your message or the one that has to be more palatable or more digestible or any of that. All of that is out. And so circling back, the more magnetic you become, the more polarizing you will be. The more people will project onto you their shadows. I've experienced this in real time and I'm exactly aware when it's happening. For example, I tend to have really intense energy. I'm a Scorpio rising, I'm a Scorpio Venus. Like I have a lot of Leo and Libra. I'm a Libra sun. So anyways, Scorpio is a very intense energy. And um when someone, for example, is hiding from their own power, my intensity can feel intimidating. But what they are seeing in me is a part of themselves that they have not embraced. And I remember this happening on a call with someone, and she was experiencing this in real time. And then she came to that own conclusion. I already knew that that's what was happening. And then she came to this conclusion through our dialogue that she actually really respected the intensity and the authority and the conviction and the inner leadership that I'm able to speak from and carry myself from because she realized she was lacking that within herself. But someone that is not consciously aware of that happening will project their shadow onto you. So in that example, she could have projected her shadow onto me and just said, I'm too much, or I'm too intense, or I'm too bold, or I'm too strong, or whatever the word may be. I'm too assertive. And that's something that I was actually I allowed myself to be shamed over the years, being told too much or too bold, or doing it to myself, even shrinking and playing small because I could feel the polarity when I fully owned my truth. So I went through my own journey of dimming my power and my light to fit in order to keep the peace, right? And long story short, if someone's not self-aware enough to realize where they are projecting their shadow, they are where they are being triggered, they will project their shadow onto you, and then you could internalize that to mean something about you if you are not self-aware enough to know that that is what is happening. And this is also part of fully stepping into your authority. There's no spiritual bypassing. You have your own shadow, I have mine. Anything can be distorted if it's rooted in fear-based consciousness. But the very things that you're shamed for, the very things that you've suppressed, the very things that you were told you were too much for or too much around, the very things that people rejected you for or shamed you for are keys to your unique divine magic. Very similar to the what I just shared about myself. My boldness, my ability to be so confident and anchored in my conviction and this authority, leadership, fully being anchored in that and knowing who the fuck I am and what I'm here to do. And I have had my fair share of people pleasing. Let me just state this. This is coming from the alchemy that I've also experienced on this path, which is part of what you have grown through as well. There's a purpose for it. There's a higher purpose for your old people pleasing tendencies and you ignoring red flags, or you getting into toxic relationships, or you ignoring your intuition and not trusting yourself, or you self-abandoning your own heart. Like all of those things are part of your journey and part of the inner alchemy that you came here to experience so that you could come full circle in this journey and shine like the light that you are unapologetically, while still carrying a deep level of compassion and empathy for those that are somewhere else on the journey and lost in the darkness still. This is what I call the lighthouse effect with my clients. You are the lighthouse here to shine your light. You're not here to fix anybody. You're not here to convince anybody. You're not here to do any of that. You're just here to shine your light in your unapologetic truth and be real and honest with yourself and calling yourself out when you are buying into your own bullshit. And as you shine your light unapologetically, those in the dark will see you. They will be magnetized in. They will be magnetized in. And you'll still polarize. Other people will be polarized by your message or your light because it will trigger. And depending on their level of self-awareness, they will say or do things that are projecting their shadows onto you. And it has nothing to do with you. All of that is medicine, actually. All of that is the light is still activating and doing things behind the scenes that you are not privy to and that you have no idea about. Just going to the grocery store fully embodied in your light is enough to create activations within people when you are fully anchored in your Christ consciousness and your truth of a divinely sovereign being that you are. Fully anchored in your divine worthiness and realizing that you are one with all that is. So this is you don't become a cosmic doormat on this journey. This isn't this just because everybody's all one and you are all connected. There is a deep level of compassion and empathy for others, right? But this also, you cultivate a deep level of wisdom and discernment on this journey. So you can smell truth a mile away and you can smell falsehood a mile away. And if something is rooted in falsehood or fear or dishonesty or greed or manipulation or whatever, you can smell it a mile away and you have healthy discernment around that. You go with what resonates. This is a game of resonance now. You're playing the game of frequency and of resonance. And when something is off, Something is off. It's not for you to fix or figure out. It's for you to know it's off. That's it. There's no judgment around that because everybody has their own soul journey and you are not privy to what that soul came to experience in this lifetime. So you could look outside into the world and you could judge somebody that's on their journey and you could say, oh, well, they're doing this or that. So they are, this or that. Like already you're in separation consciousness, by the way, if this is happening. Side note. But beyond even that, like you don't know why that soul incarnated and what they came here to experience. So you could look at somebody's life and have it be a complete shit show. And they could be completely in their victim energy. And they could be completely like just like the mind would love to judge and put them in a box. But the higher truth is that soul's path could be completely on point with what they came here to experience. I know some people don't want to hear that, but we have lived thousands of lifetimes. Who knows how many lifetimes? This isn't our first incarnation. You have been through you've ridden all the rodeos. You've done all the things. You've been the sinner and the saint. Like you've done all of it, especially if you are resonating with this, because this is a lifetime where it all gets alchemized, which is why you've gone through so many transformations and deep ancestral healing on this journey is because you are alchemizing so much in this lifetime and clearing so many karmic patterns in this lifetime. But other souls are on a different path with different reasons for incarnating and different things they want to learn and master. And you have no clue what that is. And so I don't know where I was going with that, but just with that said, it doesn't make any sense to compare yourself to what someone else is thinking or doing or how they're acting or if they're projecting on you or if they're not projecting on you. This becomes a game of frequency and resonance. And so, yeah, I was just throwing that in as a side note because so many, the whole concept of that as you awaken to your unapologetic authenticity and you realize that you are one with all and that the separation really is the illusion and this is clearly seen, you do not become the cosmic doormat. I don't know who needs to hear that, but this is not about you. There's no more self-abandoning on this journey. There's no more giving your power away. There's no more settling and compromising on your values. And there's no more, yeah, like there's there's no betraying yourself, betraying your own heart. And so you will cultivate a healthy level of discernment and a very keen awareness, a natural intuitive awareness. It will become even more heightened when something is rooted in falsehood or truth. Really, truth is your beacon in on this journey, and truth can be relative, right, to each person's experience. Everybody can have their own individualized, because you're here having this individual expression, so truth can be relative on this journey, and that is what it is. And then there's the ultimate truth, and the ultimate truth is it is not going to be coming from the identity entity in your mind. And it's just aware. This is hard to explain. There's a difference between judging something as good or bad and just healthy discernment of what resonates and doesn't. And resonance is going to call you, and anything that doesn't resonate is going to naturally repel you. This is just what's happening. So this is just bringing me full circle in the fact that as you begin to be more anchored in your truth, your unapologetic authenticity, you're going to be more magnetic and you're also going to be more polarizing. So, this is the message that wants to come through. Embrace it. You are one of the wild ones. You weren't here to be tamed. You're not here to fit in. You are a free and sovereign soul, and you're not here to be tethered to a fear-based matrix anymore that has you compromising your soul core values and your truth and your essence and your energy. You are here to be a free, sovereign soul and fully expressed in your divinity, fully embodied in your divinity, being the creator that you are. You're here to create, you're here to express, you're here to allow infinite intelligence to flow through you as the channel, vehicle, and vessel that you are. And that may sound crazy to a lot of people. I've shared a lot of stories over the course of my years, even on the Calling Uncensored. And I just shared some other stories recently, right now, in the last couple episodes of how I opened up to channeling. All of that could be seen as crazy, but who really cares? The rest of the world is crazy, right? The world itself is crazy. And the world itself is operating in reverse to how reality actually is. And the truth of reality and the nature of existence and the nature of quote unquote your existence, because you are not the you that you think you are. That is the dream. You, the dreamer, is the dreamer of the illusion, is the dream. And when you realize this, at first, the ego, when you realize this, the ego can oftentimes fall into despair, especially at first if it attaches to this, and you can fall into that void experience when you realize you never really existed the way you thought. There can be like a mourning, there could be like sorrow, there could be a death of the old identity, and it very much feels like a death. I trying to put myself back into that energy, and it was like it was the lowest of the lows. Like it feels like a death. But then what happens is you realize, when I say you, I'm using the word you loosely. So language is language. I'm not going to get tripped up on words. When it is seen, when it is felt, when it is embodied, when the infinite intelligence and the higher frequencies are able to fully move through your vessel, and it's no longer bogged down by the old constricted energies of shame and guilt and fear and anger and resentment and all of those things, and everything's able to flow more. This is naturally opening up your heart as the vessel rises in frequency. And as this happens, there's first a very usually, and not, I can only speak from experience, and a lot of the clients that I've worked with, is there's a purging that takes place. There's a purging that takes place, and my purging lasted like a year and a half. This was like a very deep purge, and dark night of the soul, and death of the old identity. And so first, the ego can latch on to that, and there's a mourning, and there's a sorrow, and there's a fear. And then as the energy begins to open up the heart space, and you begin to be more embodied in your presence and in your divine essence, and your heart is opening and you're anchored in this frequency, it becomes very freeing, because you realize that the heaviness, the weight of the world that you've been carrying on your shoulders as this little separate self that has to do all of these things, was never existed to begin with. And it's no longer this sad thing that this morning, although it was a period of this phase for me. Like I definitely went through that mourning, the death of the old, right? But then you're reborn, and you're no longer tethered to the shackles of the mind. Prior to that, you've been living in this mental prison, and now you finally get to bring the mind as online as a tool. The higher mind and your sacred heart begin to work together. And the egoic fear-based mind can still do whatever it's doing, but you see through it now. You're free. You're no longer tethered to the mental prison anymore. And what I'm speaking to is the crucifixion before the resurrection that you go through on this journey as you rise into your Christed self, rooted in Christ consciousness that is one with all things. So this channel message is going on a tangent, a rampage, and I hope you enjoyed it. It was really fun to bring through. I can't even remember everything that I shared or how I'm going to title this, but if you're still here with me, go ahead and drop the crazy face emoji because you can claim it loudly and proudly that you are a crazy one. You are the wild one. You are the untamed, sacred, sovereign soul that is here to live fully sovereign and free in alignment with your truth, unapologetically owning your essence as the truth of who you are. And that's going to sound crazy to those that don't get it. And that's perfectly fine. That's part of the plan. You came here to lead. You are a visionary. You came here to lead. You didn't come here to follow suit. Everyone has their divine appointment of when they begin to wake up to the truth of who they are and the truth of reality and how they perceive them within this reality. Everyone has their divine appointment. And it's not up to you to figure out that or try to manage that. You're not here to save anyone. You're here to shine your light. You're here to be the lighthouse, regardless of what anybody has to say about it. So get out of your head. You're not effing crazy. You're leading a new paradigm. Yes, this is real. It's why you incarnated right now in this lifetime to be the way shower. So claim it, own it, be it, live it. You are it. You are it. You are the portal to your highest timeline. So I hope this finds you well. And check out again the Forbidden Feminine Black Cat Edition live event on June 13th, which is God, it's only 9 days away now. So I'm super excited about that. If this resonates, I would love to have you. And if you are on this journey and you're still out there seeking external validation, you're chasing love, you're going through the throes of those abandonment wounds that have been ripped wide open, I highly, highly, highly recommend consider joining us inside Embody the Empress. It's super accessible. It's month to month. You can cancel anytime. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain if you're ready to shift your journey from suffering to sovereignty and really reclaim your throne and your crown as the Empress that you are. So if that is clicking with you and landing with you, join us inside Embody the Empress. And if you want to dive deeper into really tapping into your no bullshit, unapologetic authenticity, where you no longer lie to yourself and you fully unleash the magic and the divine genius that lies within you, and you are ready for some sacred soul alchemy that shines a light and illuminates truth and does not allow you to hide anymore. You are not able to hide or dim your light in my presence. That's part of my purpose. I illuminate it all. You cannot hide or play small in my presence. And if you're being called to step into your leadership role, whatever that looks like for you, then I highly recommend you check out Rise Sister Rise. And if you have any questions about that, DM me the word Rise on Instagram at Spiritual CEO. So I hope this message finds you well. And until next time, namaste.